over 40 years, Rabbi Noach Weinberg has been helping Jews of all backgrounds discover the wisdom and beauty of their heritage. Rabbi Noach was born and raised in New York City. He studied at Johns Hopkins and Loyola Universities and received his rabbinical ordination at the Ner Yisrael Rabbinical College in Baltimore. Today, he resides with his Rebbitzin in the heart of Jerusalem. With his trademark warmth, wisdom, and love for all people, Rabbi Noach has become everyone's rabbi, touching the hearts of Jews from all walks of life across the globe.
Ooh, tough call. Tough call.
Question.
Can't you ask someone else?
Well, I know if I'm infatuated because I'm thinking about that person all the time and I want to be with that person all the time.
You feel something different. You feel attracted.
If you're infatuated, you're completely obsessed with the person.
You can't describe it. It's just like it's in there and you feel it and you're like, yeah.
For both men and women, the most important advice I can give you is that you have to realize that you want to marry a woman or a man that you love, not someone that you're infatuated with. And you want your partner to be in love with you, not infatuated. So you got to know the difference between love and infatuation. And in our generation, there's a lot of confusion. Yeah. So you've heard that love is blind. That's a lie. That's a lie. Love has got a magnifying glass for every little fault. You know how I can show it to you? Check it out. Who loves you most in this world, if not your parents? Who sees your faults better than anyone else? Yeah? So love is not blind. You know what's blind? Infatuation is blind. So there's one little test, you see, and I tell it to everybody, all of my students. I tell them, listen, if you ever meet the perfect girl, she is gorgeous, she's sweet, she's gracious, she's kind, she's intelligent, she's aristocratic. She is the perfect girl. Run for your life. You're infatuated. And young lady, if you ever meet the perfect guy, he's intelligent, he's handsome, he's courteous, he's sensitive, he's the perfect guy. Run for your life. You're infatuated. There's no such creature. There's no beauty, there's no perfect girl, there's no perfect man.
If you get in a fight with them, do you look at what's good about them or you just focus on what's bad about them when you're in the fight?
After being married for 50 years, you will know.
If it's physical pleasure you're going after, then you know it's just you're infatuated. If it's after the greater goal, you know it's real love.
My piece of advice to all my young people is never marry anyone before you count at least 5 faults. Yeah? If you don't see the faults, don't marry them. Don't discover the faults after you get married. So count 5 faults and count 25 virtues. Yeah? Then, when you decide to get married, at the wedding, tear up the faults and stick with the virtues. Every Friday, before Shabbat, put another virtue on your list. For your wife, for your husband. Put another virtue. By the end of the year, 52 more virtues, and there's always more that you haven't seen. Then pick out 5 of the most impressive and tell your loved one, you know, I thought I was marrying a wonderful girl, and now I realize how wonderful you really are. Oh boy, what a line. Try it.
Wow, that's a hard question. I don't know. Losing your breath when you see someone, undying devotion for something, the same kind of feeling that you feel for your immediate family.
Love's a good thing, I think.
It's probably just when you care about someone and you want to do things for them that'll make them happy and you care about them and you trust them and you respect them.
When 2 people can't get enough of each other.
You know, the Jewish people, we taught the world this concept, v'yahavta l'reyacha kamocha. All over the world, people are talking about love your neighbor as yourself. If you ask any Westerner, come from England, come from America, come from Australia, come from Germany, come from Russia, should you love nice neighbors? They've been taught. It's widespread. They say, yes, you should. Is it a good thing to do, to love nice neighbors? It's a good thing to do. Is it the right thing to do? It's the right thing to do. Then if you ask him, so tell me, can I obligate you to love someone? Obligation? You can't obligate me to love. They don't realize that there's a contradiction. On the one hand, they're saying it's the right thing to do, and you got to do the right thing. It's an obligation. It's a good thing to do, and you got to do the good. You can't do the bad things. And it's something that you should do, which means it's an obligation. But you can't obligate me. It's the right thing. It's a good thing. You should do it. You can't obligate me. In Judaism, we say it's an obligation. It's one of the 613 commandments. It's considered one of the main commandments. Love your neighbor as yourself.
Love is when, I don't know, I've never been in love. Yeah. I can't say.
Love is a relationship that's built over time.
Love is giving up yourself to others.
Love is an industry. Love is a poem. Love is an ocean. Love is a universe.
I suggest you consider, if you had 2 kids, you might have 2 kids, maybe 4, maybe 5. Yeah, but if you have 2 kids, is it possible that one day one of them is going to say, I hate my sister, I hate my brother? And what are you going to say? Well, it happens. You hate, so okay, so you hate. You're going to say, don't talk like that. You say, I'm only telling you the truth. But you got to love a sister. How can I love a brat like that? Don't talk that way. I'm only telling you the truth. But you know that it's wrong. You got to love a sister, you got to love a brother, and it's going to bother the heck out of you. But they're going to tell you, how can I love them? You have to know how to teach them.
I want to know what love is. Love is, I don't know.
Love is everything.
Love is the ability to go out of your way for someone else, even when you don't feel like going out of your way for them.
We're still in conflict. This is a 3,000-year struggle between us and the Greeks. Western culture is a struggle between Judaic values and Greek values. So you know what the Greek concept of love is? People don't even realize that they're being brainwashed, but it's there. All the time, it's beating on your head, and it makes an impression. So what's the Greek concept of love? You see this young man is looking at this young lady, and this guy Cupid, he flits by, the little guy with the wings, yeah? And he has a bow and arrow, and he hits you. You're in love. You're in love. You're in love. If you're for it, you're in love. So what do? You get married. You have a couple of kids. You got a lot of debt. You got 2 cars. You're working late at night with your secretary. This bum Cupid sneaks up and he shoots you again. Now you're in love with the secretary. You come home and you say, what can I do, honey? I fell in love. In Judaism we say, no such thing. Love is an obligation. And the Greeks say love is Cupid. So now you tell me, how in the world can you obligate me to find? I don't even know where the guy lives. And I don't know what he takes. So how can it? Now, you have to check it out. Who do you believe? The Greeks or our forefathers? Yeah?
Love is sharing, caring.
Love is something you can't explain. If you love someone, then you feel it and you know.
First thing, in order to know how to love, you're going to have a definition. You say, what do you mean a definition? A Cupid's arrow, what do you define? Yeah, it's an obligation. In order to fulfill an obligation, you have to have a what. What is it you got to do? How do you do something if you don't know what you got to do? So, check it out. You know that there's a definition. How do you know that there's a definition? My friend, do you love your father? Yes, I do. Do you love your mother? Yes, I do. Do you love your sister? Yes, I do. Do you love your brother? Yes, I do. Do you love the mechanic that ripped you off? No, I don't. Do you love the banker who charges you for transactions you haven't even begun? No, I don't. Well, do you bafufstik your father? Bafufstik, what's that? B-A-F-O-O-F-S-T-O-C-K. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, just tell me, do you or don't you? I can't tell you, I don't know what you're talking about. But you told me you love your father. That means you have a concept. You know what I'm talking about.
Love is when you have a trusting relationship with someone else.
Love is an English muffin on a rainy Sunday morning.
It's that feeling of supreme pleasure.
So let us tell you the Jewish definition of love, and you check it out whether that's what you mean. The Jewish definition of love is, it's an emotion. You all agree it's an emotion, it's a feeling. It's an emotion of pleasure. When you look at your kids, you look at the people you love, it can bring pain, but it's an emotion basically of pleasure. It's the greatest pleasure we have. It's our children. We get married because we're in love. It's a pleasure. So it's an emotion of pleasure that we human beings have when we see. See means appreciate, understand, perceive. A virtue. Virtue is anything gorgeous, strong, meaningful in another human being, and we identify that human being with his virtue. So the easiest love of all is children. So you ask a guy, why do you love your children? He'll give you everything in the sun. He's intelligent, he's full of life, he's mischievous, he's got a sense of humor, everything under the sun. You say, well, isn't it true that his nose is always running? Come on, what's the matter with you? That's the way you judge a kid? We'll have him cauterized. I mean, he'll grow out of it. Well, isn't it true that he's a spoiled little brat? You can't say, I love him, the spoiled brat, I love him. You can't say, I love a fault. You say, he's only young, we spoiled him. You excuse his fault and you focus on his virtue. When you hate someone, you focus on his faults. Why do you hate that guy? Well, he's a double-crossing, he's a selfish boor, he's a dishonest liar, cheat. Well, isn't it true that the guy is good-looking? He's always, so well-dressed and so presentable. So what? And that means it's okay to be a cheat and a liar well, isn't it true that he's always ready to do a favor? I'm telling you, the guy's always ready to do a favor. You can't say, yeah, I hate him. He's always ready to do a favor. You say he's only doing the favor to get the knife into your back. Yeah? You can't hate virtue. You can only hate faults. You can't love faults. You can only love virtue. So if you know this, then the art of love is to see and discern and appreciate virtues in all humanity, because everybody's full of virtues. Human beings are gorgeous. You just got to find out how to see it and appreciate it.
I can't tell you.
It really just doesn't say too much about it.
Torah's view of sex is good in a marital relationship.
Sex, oh boy, sex, Shir Hashirim Asher L'Shlomo, the Song of Songs, is a love song between a man and a woman and a man. The Jewish people says all the songs of our Torah, of our literature, are holy, because music and song and harmony is the way to feel God's presence, to get close to God. But the love song of a man to a woman and a woman to a man, that's the holy of holies. Sex has been around for a long time. We Jews pass along the wisdom for a long time, and we say God gave us wisdom. If you want to know the secret of sex, come to Torah. It's so beautiful. It's the holy of holies.
I really don't know.
That's a strange question to ask.
That's a hard question for me.
The Western man stands on the street corner and he watches women going by. What the heck are you doing? It's like going to a bakery and looking at, wow, that piece of cake. Women don't do that. They have more sense. They know sex is for marriage. They don't, oh yeah, they have some He-Man magazines for women, but they're trying to imitate men. Women are not interested in every man walking along the street. They want one guy who they respect, who's a mensch, and they want to marry him. Yeah? Well, men would like to sleep with everyone, which is ridiculous. They know it's ridiculous, and they know they're ruining their lives. Because, you see, every man knows, every man, Western man, every man knows that if he was fortunate enough to get the only woman in the world, she would choose him for marriage. He would do a triple somersault backwards, even though he's never done acrobatics in his life. The secret of femininity. And I'll tell you something, even if she was a hunchback, he'd still do a triple somersault backwards. Femininity is breathtaking. It's a miracle of God, yeah? But when you have Grace, and she was a blonde, and Bloomer was a brunette, and this one was this shape, and that one was that shape, and inasmuch as you reserve it for a husband and for a wife, and that's where it stays, without spreading it out, that intensifies it. Every human being knows that if he married the only woman in this world, then he would be devoted to her with all his life. And every woman knows that if she married the only man in this world, then all the foibles of mankind, it doesn't matter. That's what you got to do. You got to put the essence of sex into a husband and a wife and ignore all the rest. The rest is nonsense. It's just dreams. It's just getting in the way of a happy marriage.
Not beauty.
No, yes, beauty.
No beauty.
A girl has to be beautiful. She has to be funny. She has to be smart.
Beauty doesn't stay. And I think the person inside stays. So you should look for the person inside and not for the person outside.
If they care, the way they act,
and loving and funny and fun.
Personality.
Yeah.
There are particular things that men should look for in a woman and women should look for in a man. Yeah? If you know that a woman has got to know that a man has got commitment, it's natural for a woman to have commitment. She's not looking at other guys. She's not. It's just a natural thing. Women don't stand on the street watching the men go by. Yeah? They pick a mate and they stick to him. While men, it's natural for them to look at women going by. And what's natural for them, unless they have that power of commitment or understanding or religion or whatever it is that does it, then the poor woman is going to suffer a heck of a lot because their eyes wander and their commitment wanders. Yeah?
Somebody that has the personality that goes with her liking, and the temperament.
The man should be really nice, and he should grow up.
Just a good woman, you know, somebody you're going to connect with, somebody you feel that you can create an entire life with.
He should have a certain amount of joy in her presence that he doesn't have when he is with anyone else.
Women need sensitivity in a man, yeah? A man doesn't need that much sensitivity in a woman, but at the same time, he needs encouragement. If he does, he'll do anything for his wife, but he needs encouragement, he needs appreciation. Not as much sensitivity. A woman wants to know that a man empathizes with her. A man doesn't want to know whether his wife empathizes, but he wants to know that she appreciates him. So there's different aspects. The more you know about the nature of man and the nature of woman and the nature of marriage, yeah, the better off your choice will be. I mean, the more intelligently you can make a choice.
Someone that could bring up a family.
You want to share your life, so you share it with someone you love. And
you want to have kids.
Kids, family.
You want to have kids to annoy you just like you annoyed your parents.
I guess someone that can make them laugh, who they could have a good time with, who they trust, who they could grow from intellectually and spiritually and every other way possible.
Pretty. The family likes her, because if the family doesn't like her, it's a big problem.
Good mother.
If you want the pleasure of having children, when you're looking for a wife, you have to find out whether she's interested in having children, yeah? And if you're a lady and you want to get a husband and you want the pleasure of having children, you've got to find out whether he wants children. You know, today you can't take it for granted. You've got to find out where these people are living. What do they want out of life? And you've got to find out if it's the same thing that you want out of life. Because if he's a gambler and he wants to travel the racetrack circuit. You're a homebody. Yeah, don't marry the guy. It's not good for you. Yeah. So you've got to find out, first know yourself, and then know your future partner.
I don't know. I guess I would look for a girl who's like my mom. My mom never said no to anyone if they ever needed help.
When I met my husband, the first thing he did, he showed me pictures of his family, and that showed me of caring and loving.
You should look for someone who's always helping others, who is aware of what they can do in their community to improve the quality of life.
I hope I'm not offending anyone, but a man who's married to a woman who is a sweet, wonderful creature, and she is an artist and has never sold a painting in the last 25 years. It doesn't bother him in the least. He's in love with her. He'll continue to be in love with her. A woman marries this nice, sweet, wonderful guy, yeah, who's an artist, and he never sold a painting in the last 20 years, yeah, she is going off her rocker. Yeah? So there's other things to consider. There are many other things to consider.
Relax.
The wife's the boss.
Yeah, you're gonna lose.
Learn how to swallow your pride.
Be honest with the person and treat them well, and then everything will be good.
Learn how to say, I'm sorry, you're always right, and give lots of flowers and candy.
Jewelry.
Candy.
Jewelry.
It's common sense, common knowledge, that you know what's wrong with men? You know what's wrong with men? They don't understand women. I think everybody understands that, right? You know what's wrong with women? They think they understand men. So the advice we give them is learn about what is the problems that men and women face in marriage, in understanding each other, in communication. Learn before you get married, rather than come home with a broken head and say, you know, we got to go to a marriage counselor.
Make sure you know how to cook.
Make sure your makeup doesn't run. It's waterproof.
Just know what you're doing, you know what you're getting into.
Make your husband your best friend.
Check into his family. Know his father and his brother as well.
Just be careful what you wish for.
Women think they understand men, but they're a different creature, completely different creature. One of the ways I show women that men are a different creature, completely different, is that we teach a class on being good. Everybody wants to be good. We want to be all good. We want to be perfect. And I say to 100 men, who in this room will confess that in the innermost recesses of his heart, secretly, he desires to be the Messiah himself? 100 hands go up. 100 guys, 100 hands. Sometimes the last guy picks up his hand, he says, thank God, thank God. And everybody looks at him, what's with you? He says, I thought I was crazy. Sometimes people don't lift their hands and they say, what's with you? You don't want to be the Messiah? Ah, I gave it up long ago. Well, people aren't worth the trouble. But everybody wants to be the Messiah. If there's a woman, or 10 women, or 20 women in that class, they look horrified. They look at these guys and they say, they're crazy. Never mind, they want to be the Messiah. Yeah. You got to understand those creatures. That's what they want to be. You got to figure it out. How do you deal with a guy who wants to be the Messiah?
Be true to yourself and the person that you're getting married to.
Try to be happy. The more you give, the more you get.
If you have any questions or any comments, anything at all, we're interested. Please call.